Muhammad was born into a world of faith. In his Iranian home, Islam wove through every aspect of life. His family was devout, adhering strictly to Islamic traditions. From a young age, Muhammad learned the Quran. He prayed 5 times a day, facing Mecca. He believed in Allah as the one true God and Muhammad, the Prophet, as his messenger. Life followed the rhythm of faith. Muhammad attended mosque with his family. He observed the holy month of Ramadan. He learned the stories of the prophets and the importance of living a righteous life. Islam was more than a religion. It was the air he breathed, the lens through which he saw the world. Yet even within the comfort of his faith, a seed of unrest began to grow. Muhammad felt a void in his heart, a yearning for something more. As Muhammad grew older, the questions in his heart grew stronger. He often found himself lost in thought, pondering the deeper meanings of life and faith. The city around him, with its bustling streets and towering mosques, seemed to hold secrets he was desperate to uncover. Every call to prayer echoed in his mind, stirring a mix of reverence and doubt. He diligently studied the Quran, searching for answers to his doubts. Each verse he read, each page he turned, was an attempt to bridge the gap between his faith and his questions. He spent countless hours immersed in religious texts, hoping to find clarity and peace. The words of the Quran were beautiful and profound, but they often left him with more questions than answers. He sought guidance from the Imam, hoping to find solace in his wisdom. The Imam's words were kind and filled with knowledge, but they did not always resonate with Muhammad's inner turmoil. He attended sermons and engaged in long conversations, seeking a mentor who could help him navigate his spiritual journey. Yet despite the Imam's best efforts, the void in Muhammad's heart remained. But the void remained a persistent ache in his soul. He often found himself in quiet, contemplative places, trying to make sense of his feelings. The more he searched, the more elusive the answers seemed. His heart was heavy with a sadness he couldn't quite explain, a longing for something more, something deeper. Muhammad began to question the rigidity of his faith. He wondered if the strict interpretations and practices were truly the path to spiritual fulfillment. His skepticism grew as he observed the world around him, noticing the inconsistencies and contradictions in the actions of those who professed to be devout. He saw hypocrisy in the actions of some who claimed to be devout. This disillusionment only deepened his doubts. He watched as people preached compassion and humility, yet acted with arrogance and indifference. The disparity between words and actions troubled him deeply, making him question the very foundation of his beliefs. He wrestled with the concept of God's love amidst the suffering he witnessed in the world. The sight of poverty, injustice, and pain around him made it hard to reconcile the idea of a benevolent deity. He struggled to understand how a loving God could allow such suffering to exist. These thoughts haunted him, adding to the turmoil in his heart. His heart yearned for a more compassionate, more forgiving deity. He prayed fervently, looking to the heavens for signs of hope and understanding. His prayers were filled with a deep desire for a connection to a higher power that embodied the love and mercy he so desperately sought. He longed for a spiritual experience that would bring him peace and clarity. His search for truth led him down different paths. He explored various religious and philosophical texts, seeking wisdom from different cultures and traditions. Libraries became his sanctuary and books his companions. Each new perspective offered a glimpse of understanding, but none provided the complete picture he was looking for. He explored philosophy, delving into the works of great thinkers. The writings of philosophers challenged his mind and expanded his horizons. He pondered the nature of existence, the meaning of life, and the essence of truth. These intellectual pursuits were stimulating, but they did not satisfy the deeper spiritual longing within him. He engaged in debates about religion, eager to understand different perspectives. These discussions were passionate and enlightening, offering him new insights and challenging his preconceptions. He listened to the arguments of others, weighing their merits and flaws. Yet, despite the richness of these exchanges, he still felt an emptiness that no amount of debate could fill. Yet none of these avenues could satisfy the longing in his heart. He often found himself alone, reflecting on his journey and the unanswered questions that still plagued him. The more he searched, the more he realized that the answers he sought might not be found in books or debates. His heart ached for a deeper, more personal connection to the divine. He felt like a ship lost at sea, tossed about by waves of doubt and uncertainty. The vast ocean of his thoughts and emotions seemed endless, and he struggled to find his bearings. The journey was arduous, filled with moments of despair and glimpses of hope, but through it all, Mohammad remained determined to find the truth, to discover a faith that resonated with his soul and brought him the peace he so desperately sought. One day, a classmate discreetly handed Mohammad a small book. The classroom was bustling with activity, students chattering and teachers moving about, but this exchange was almost invisible, hidden in plain sight. "Read this," he whispered, his eyes darting around nervously. The urgency in his voice was palpable, as if he was passing on a secret that could change everything. It was a Bible, a forbidden text in their society. The very sight of it sent a shiver down Mohammed's spine. He knew the consequences of being caught with such a book. Possessing it carried immense risk, but curiosity burned within Mohammed. He had heard whispers about the Bible, tales of its powerful messages, and the hope it brought to those who read it. He began reading in secret, his heart pounding with each turn of the page. The words seemed to leap off the paper, speaking directly to his soul. He read late into the night, the dim light of a candle casting shadows on the walls. The words of the Gospels, the teachings of Jesus, struck a chord within him. They were unlike anything he had ever encountered before, filled with a profound wisdom and a deep sense of compassion. Here was a message of love, forgiveness and compassion that resonated deep within his soul. It was a stark contrast to the harsh realities of his world, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Jesus spoke of a God who was personal, who cared deeply for humanity, who offered a path to salvation through grace, not just through strict adherence to rules. This was a revolutionary idea for Mohammed, one that challenged everything he had been taught. Night after night, Mohammed devoured the words of the Bible. Each verse, each parable, each teaching seemed to unlock a new understanding, a new perspective on life and faith. He felt a connection to Jesus he had never experienced before. It was as if he was meeting a long-lost friend, someone who understood his struggles and offered him a way out. Jesus' teachings offered him the answers he had been searching for. They provided a sense of direction, a purpose that had been missing from his life. He found solace in the words, a comfort that wrapped around him like a warm blanket. He felt a sense of peace he had never known, a profound assurance that he was loved unconditionally. This newfound faith gave him strength, a quiet confidence that he could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The hidden light of the Bible had illuminated his path, guiding him towards a future filled with hope and love. Driven by his newfound faith, Mohammed sought out others who shared his beliefs. His journey was not just a physical one, but a deeply spiritual quest. Each step he took through the bustling streets of the city was filled with a sense of purpose and determination. He knew that finding a community of like-minded individuals was crucial for his spiritual growth and survival. He learned about a secret Christian house church, a place where Iranian Christians gathered in hushed whispers to worship. This underground network was a lifeline for many, offering a sanctuary where they could express their faith freely, away from the prying eyes of authorities. The secrecy of these meetings added an element of danger, but also a profound sense of solidarity and unity among the believers. The risks were enormous, but his desire to be part of this community outweighed his fear. Mohammed knew that being discovered could lead to severe consequences, yet the thought of connecting with others who shared his faith gave him the courage to proceed. He spent many sleepless nights contemplating the potential dangers, but his resolve remained unshaken. Entering the house church for the first time filled Mohammed with a mix of trepidation and exhilaration. The dimly lit room, the hushed voices, and the palpable sense of anticipation created an atmosphere that was both intimidating and inviting. As he crossed the threshold, he felt a wave of emotions wash over him: fear, excitement, and a deep sense of belonging. He found himself among fellow Iranians who, like him, had found solace and truth in Jesus. The warmth and acceptance he received from the community were overwhelming. These were people who understood his struggles, his fears, and his hopes. They had all walked a similar path, and their shared experiences created a bond that was both deep and unbreakable. They sang hymns in hushed tones, their voices filled with quiet fervor. The songs were a source of comfort and strength, a way to express their faith and devotion in a world that often seemed hostile to their beliefs. Each hymn was a reminder of the hope and love that their faith brought into their lives. They listened intently as the pastor shared God's word, finding strength and encouragement in their shared faith. The pastor's words were a beacon of hope, guiding them through the challenges they faced. His teachings provided them with the spiritual nourishment they needed to persevere in their journey of faith. Within the walls of the house church, Mohammed found the acceptance and belonging he had longed for. The community became his family, offering him the support and love he needed to navigate the complexities of his new faith. The bonds he formed here were not just spiritual, but deeply personal, providing him with a sense of home and security. He learned more about the Christian faith, growing in his understanding of God's love and grace. The teachings and discussions at the house church deepened his knowledge and strengthened his faith. He spent hours studying the Bible, finding new insights and revelations that enriched his spiritual journey. He formed deep bonds with his fellow believers, finding strength and encouragement in their shared journey of faith. The friendships he made were a source of joy and inspiration, helping him to stay strong in his convictions. Together, they celebrated their faith, supported each other through challenges, and shared the joys and sorrows of their spiritual journey. The more Mohammed learned about Jesus, the more certain he became of his decision. He knew he could no longer deny the truth that had taken root in his heart. With both fear and anticipation, he chose to be baptized, publicly declaring his faith in Jesus Christ. Mohammed's decision came with a heavy price. He knew that openly following Jesus in Iran could cost him everything. He could face persecution, imprisonment, even death. Yet his love for Christ outweighed his fear. He was determined to live his truth, no matter the cost. His conversion was met with mixed reactions. Some friends and family members were understanding, while others felt betrayed. They couldn't comprehend his rejection of Islam, the religion of his ancestors. Whispers of his conversion spread, and soon Mohammed found himself facing suspicion and hostility from those who once embraced him.